Hello once again. This is Haniel. This is a relatively short podcast I want to do on the nature of beauty and how this beauty is connected to the number six. What is beauty? What do people mean when they say something is beautiful? Is the concept of beauty one that is universally recognized? Is it the nature of form? Is it the nature of function? What exactly is it? Why is it that human beings are able to perceive beauty? Do other animals perceive beauty? Are they concerned with what it is? Do they care? Or is it a quintessentially human trait? Now I'm basically just going to jump right in. I'm trying to make these podcasts as succinct as possible. Straight to the point. In my view, and the view of several others I have researched all through the years, beauty is a perception of harmony. It's a perception of a type of togetherness that brings form and function together, maybe even symmetry. Because when we perceive beauty, we perceive a very, very high intelligence. It appears that everything has come together perfectly or in proportion, in just the right proportion as to convey the feeling that there is a higher level of organization at work. So beauty and even the word harmony, harmony is, literally speaking, harmony is a balance in proportion. And what is proportion? Proportions are ratios. And when we talk about the harmonic series, for instance, in mathematics, we're basically talking about the inverse of all the natural numbers, the inverse of the set of natural numbers. So, but when we also talk about harmonic motion in physics, we're talking about some type of oscillatory motion. So even the word harmony has many different types of expression, but the essential idea behind the concept of harmony is the ratio of proportion, of proportionality. So either this ratio is increasing or is decreasing, doesn't matter. What matters is that there are the ratios of proportions which appear or look or sound pleasant. And the same thing can be said about music. The kind of musical tonal ratios that we perceive as pleasurable, in as human beings, also conveys the type of harmony and beauty which we like. There are different tonal ratios that people are comfortable with. That the musical scale is built upon pleasure, the perception of pleasure, and therefore the perception of beauty. Because pleasure and beauty are very much linked. Your ability to perceive pleasure and your ability to understand beauty, they are basically driven by the same impulse within the human being. And when you hear some scientists talk about how beauty is truth and how truth is beauty, what they are expressing is something that they have come to observe within nature. Nature, the more we know about nature, the more there seems to exist a depth of perception in terms of organizational structure. The forms are so intricate and so delicate that when we finally understand them and unravel them, we are struck by the level of sophistication, the level of simplicity, and yet complexity that is inherent within this. That if we had seen this kind of phenomena any other place, we would immediately come to the conclusion that it was designed and it was built. Look at, for instance, DNA as a vehicle for hereditary transference. For as the mechanism for genetics. I mean, before Francis Crick and his mate discovered this, I mean, there were all sorts of ideas, but on discovering the structure of the DNA helix, I mean, you can just begin to imagine how these people must have felt. They must have felt, wow, this level of sophistication is what is going on unconsciously within the human being. I mean, where is the organized complexity that directs all of this? Where is it coming from? So people have always speculated, is there a designer, is there a creator, or is there not a creator? I don't know what they really expect. You know, I'm not sure the validity of that kind of question, those, you know, that line of questioning, because, you know, I don't know what they're expecting to see or to perceive when they ask if there is a designer or a creator. Of course, you can clearly see that a baby forms in a womb and is born 9 months. You know, and this has been happening in the human race for millions of years. It's happening among the animals. They're not even as conscious of themselves. They don't even have a sense of self. So whatever it is that is taking place is an automatic process, devoid from intent. So it is a process that is hardwired. Now, where is the intelligence for this hardwiring? Where is the intelligence, the guiding principle? Where are they coming from? Do things just happen because they want to happen? And if they do so, then how come these outcomes are stable? I mean, two goats don't have a baby and it's a dog, for instance. I mean, so there is sophistication, there is organization, there is intelligence. The question has always been, what is the source of this intelligence, and what does that mean? What does that imply for the human race? Okay, some people, they intuit that there must have been a designer, one who's the perceiver of this beauty. Some other people say no, that's impossible. You know, and those who say that there is a designer, then where is the designer? You know, some people think it's aliens and technology and all that. And some people just go hard right, and they say, look, there is no such thing as a designer. There's no, it's now, the irony of this kind of argument is that it reveals a certain type of ignorance, because the debate has no merit on its own, because they are both correct in a sense. It's just that they don't understand what it is that they actually, the whatever it is, the bone of contention isn't really clearly defined. And when you properly define the bone of contention, you realize that the argument is null and void. There's no merit in it. Now, the idea that human beings can perceive the type of beauty that they do, and as such this leads to pleasure, and that this perception of beauty or harmony or proportional ratios, it gives a feeling of deep familiarity of some sort. A familiarity that is linked to some type of awareness, inexplicable awareness, that allows people to look up into the sky to see a spiral galaxy, and then they see the formation of a vortex in their drains while they're taking their baths, as vortexes form as the water is being drained below. There is some type of familiarity, there is some type of intuitive, deeply connective, deeply intuitive understanding that also arises when you perceive the balance of nature in ecosystems. You come to the realization that there is something here at work that maintains all this order. Now, it is the perception of all that order and beauty that is what organized complexity is all about. And it has been my long-standing assertion and theory that the origin of this organized complexity, everywhere we look in the universe, that the origin of it to the sophistication of what a human being is supposed to be, that this organization is being prescribed by the organization, encoded by the distribution of prime numbers. And this is all what my theory of organized complexity is built on. The 5 principles of organized complexity, which starts off as a prescriptive principle coming from the distribution of prime numbers, and how this goes on to become the poise principle, and how this goes on to become the sustenance principle, and how this sustenance in